Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in just a moment. We want to allow a little bit of time for some more folks to trickle in. We would love to see your faces today. No pressure, but it's a great way to connect with the professionals who are sharing their time with you all. We will have Q&A. It will be an interactive day for us. So please, if you can, turn on your cameras. My colleague Valerie just put some housekeeping into the chat as well that you can refer to. All right, I am so happy to kick us off today. Valerie, if you could start recording if we haven't already. Awesome, thank you so much. Welcome everyone, my name is Basanti Miller. I am an Assistant Director of Student and Industry Connections here at DePaul University's Career Center. My colleague Valerie joins us. We're both on the employer engagement team. We are so excited to share space today with Nekia Nichelle and her amazing team. We wanted to throw some housekeeping just as a reminder. There will be some other folks kind of trickling in throughout the day today. We have a lot of really amazing things to share with you, and we will have time for Q&A. So please, we encourage you to turn on your cameras. It's really such an important way to connect with employers who are sharing time and space. We will address all of your questions at the end of our time together. If you want to populate the chat, if you have a burning question that you might forget at the end, we'll circle back, but we will reserve all Q&A for the end, and there will be plenty of time for you to talk to all of the staff with Nekia and Nichelle. Additionally, Valerie and I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this event in correlation with a larger initiative called Your Network, Your Narrative. This is an event that is a part of that initiative. It is our pilot first year doing that in support of creative students across creative industries, majors, minors, etc. This initiative is going to continue on through March 6th. So we have another week of incredible events. We've got some events that are coming up that we'd love to plug for you that are coming up starting on Wednesday next week. So we've got a film and animation industry night in person. I'm going to throw it over to my colleague Valerie to talk more about that.
Thank you, Basanti. Hello, everyone. As Basanti mentioned, we are still continuing Your Network, Your Narrative with the Film and Animation In-Person Industry Night, March 4th from 4 to 6 p.m., where you will hear from industry leaders in film and animation, connect with professionals, and also meet DePaul alumni. As Basanti mentioned, we're just going to drop in a couple of more events into the chat, and we hope to see you then. Take it away, Basanti.
Thank you so much, Valerie. All right, I think that covers all of my housekeeping for now. If you have any just logistical questions, feel free to DM me personally. Otherwise, without further ado, I am so excited to pass things off to Nekia and Clint and the rest of her team to do intros and talk more about their amazing work and why they're here today.
Thanks so much, Basanti and Valerie. I really appreciate you. Hi, everyone. I am Nekia Nichelle. I am the founder of Nekia Nichelle LLC, as well as two other companies. So I have my own entertainment and lifestyle publication. It's called Just in Life. And then we just recently launched the In Brand Agency, which is a PR and marketing agency arm. And they all kind of work cohesively together. I'll share that when we get into the presentation, but I'm going to take it away and have Clint introduce himself.
All right, my name's Clint. Whole name's Clinton Johnson, right? You can call me Clint for short. The COO here at Nekia Nichelle. My main function with Nekia Nichelle, Just in Life, the in brand. I bring more of the business side, the structuring, the foundations, more of like why do we do what we do, right? And adjust as we change. As everybody knows, business changes all the time, right? So we always have to be making adjustments, changing the way we do things, right? So I focus a lot on systems, processes, SOPs, kind of team building there and how we grow, right? Versus where Nekia, right, she is the best branding person like I know. Like I still try to like build out like some flyers or even getting down to the PowerPoint that we have here. Usually I'll just put the context in there, let her make it pretty, right? So she is the branding expert for us here. Everything across all platforms that you see, it is her branding there. You won't see my work so much until you come into the house, right? It's more behind the scenes, the structuring and all of that. But we love our internship and our internship program. That is kind of the foundation of Nekia Nichelle and how we give back to the society as we grow for everybody. But that's a little bit about me. Go ahead, Gabby, if you want to introduce yourself and tell them about the amazing stuff you do with us.
Of course, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for connecting. My name is Gabriela Orellana. You can call me Gabby for short. I am the senior social media manager and team lead at Justin Life. In my role, I focus on social media strategy, the content direction, and mentoring interns, as they grow into versatile content creators and also social media managers. And I've loved my time working here at, Justin Life and with Nikia and Clinton. And what brought me here, I think it was my passion for pop culture, and what happens in the entertainment industry and how that shapes the conversations that we see online. So I think that curiosity really led me to specialize more in this, field and creating content that resonates with audiences while keeping the brand voice authentic. And beyond work itself, I just really enjoy building system and resources that empower, teams and our interns. So for me, that's the most rewarding, the part of seeing people grow and thrive in what they do and finding that passion.
All right, Charlene, wanna?
Yes. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. It's so nice to meet you virtually. My name is Shirlene Amiani, pronouns she, her. I am a senior writer and publishing editor with Justin Life. And I think what I really appreciate about the company is just the ability to grow within that space and the creative freedom that it has offered me. Because I'm not somebody who got into writing traditionally. I was actually a STEM major. And then I decided I actually want to get into creativity after I graduated. And it's really hard starting from scratch, but Justin Life was one of the very few organizations that was really willing to give me an opportunity and take me on. And I'm very, very grateful for that because I have found my passion for writing through my time with Justin Life. And I'm just really looking forward to expanding on my writing skills and also like nurturing other upcoming interns who are coming into the space. So I hope I get to interact more with y'all and share just more about my experiences, but that's just a little bit about me for now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charlene. So we'll jump right into the presentation for you all to give you a little bit more information about the company and who we are. So making sure you guys can see my screen. We're good. All right. So I would love to tell a little bit about our story. We are a media and marketing company dedicated to blending media technology and commerce to create impactful culture-driven experiences. So the company is, like I told you guys before, it's comprised of two distinct divisions, Justin Life, our digital publication, and then the N-Brand creative media and marketing agency. We offer a 360 approach to brand visibility. We are so committed to empowering diverse lifestyles through engaging content, strategic marketing, and community-driven initiatives. And our reach extends across multiple platforms, including our signature online magazine, digital features, video content, and social media channels. Additionally, we curate exclusive events designed to resonate with and inspire our audience. So I told you a little bit about me, but let me give you a little bit more about my journey in media. So I started my journey in media in 2007. I am a very vivacious type of person, and I'm, as my mom would call it, tenacious. So when I started, I knew that I wanted to do something in media. Of course, you know, Oprah was my inspiration. She was a Black woman here in Chicago that had her own TV show, and what I would imagine, you know, kind of inspiring through storytelling, inspiring women, helping them elevate their everyday. And so I wanted to pick up where she left us. I mean, she's not in Chicago anymore. And so, you know, I'm all about elevating my everyday and inspiring people to reach their dreams as well. When I got my foot in the door, it wasn't through education, it was through me building relationships and building networks. And that's what I've been doing my whole career, is building relationships and building my own network, because your network is your net worth.
Yay.
I don't know if anyone's told you in school, but that is the real tea. So I built everything from the ground up, just me and a dream. In 2007, I met another young lady that had more of the, you know, technical aspect, and I brought the, you know, networking aspect, and we came together, built a TV show called Flair TV here in Chicago, which aired here in Chicago. And it also allowed for me to get into spaces, connect with other people, connect with artists, musicians. It was our first interview was with Nelly and the whole Saint Lunatics, and then it grew from Queen Latifah to Angela Bassett, you know, and so many other artists, musicians, you know, actors, actresses. So now in 2021, with the encouragement from Clint, in 2021, he told me, you know, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. Either go and jump, make the leap, or leave it alone. So I made the leap, and here we are today. So that's my full story.
All right, to give you guys a little bit more background on myself, gave you the brief kind of entrepreneur, operator, systems builder, marketing strategist, and growth architect, right? That's kind of the overall thing. But share a little bit about my journey like Nekia did. I do call myself a serial entrepreneur. Been an entrepreneur, I could trace that back to like when I was 10 years old, walking around the block in the neighborhood, shoveling snow from people's driveways, cutting their grass. Later on, then in high school, I of course got, this was what, early 2000s, right? Everybody has subwoofers in their car and just beating down everything, right? So, I started a business then installing sound systems in cars. Didn't go well, didn't go too far after that. Then I was doing construction at that time, so I did start, as I told you guys before, started my company remodeling, doing kitchens and bathrooms there. This was in 2007, I think we launched, so we picked the perfect year to launch a company, because then if anybody knows economics, what came in 2008 and 2007, right? So obviously that company didn't work out. After that, made the choice. I went to the Marine Corps, spent some time in the Marine Corps, came back home, got back on top of my entrepreneurial journey. At that time, I did go back to school. So I was in school later in my life, which for me worked out best, because if I went straight from high school to college, I would have probably been that freshman dropout. So probably was better for me to enter that space back later on. I got my BBA at Northeastern Illinois. Did that, graduated high honors, so that was a big achievement for me. As I did graduate high school, I think my GPA in graduating high school was like 1.5 or something like that. Absolutely horrible, right? Barely graduated high school, but just to show, right, like you do grow as you go through your life, right? So just because what journey you're on now doesn't depict what journey you will be on eventually, right? And touching that note, as I graduated college, and pretty much from time I graduated high school till maybe in 2021, my whole focus was real estate. I'm a real estate investor. I got into my profession in property management and all of that stuff, but try to acknowledge where your life and where your journey is taking you, and don't fight against it, lean into it, right? So now I find myself, after I taught myself all this stuff about real estate, now I'm in media marketing lifestyle space, right? But looking back at my life when I was in high school, I was like going forward
Graphic
with
design.
graphic design, animation, and all of that stuff. I chose not to go that route because I didn't want to sit behind a desk every day, right? Well, now later in life, I don't want to be hauling wheelbarrows every day either. So, trying to find that balance now. But that's a little bit about myself, my journey, and kind of how I got here. Now, this like is probably more naturally where I was supposed to go. So back in high school, reading the room, right? I was going down this route. Now life has taken me right back to it. So with a whole bunch of additional education and resources and knowledge and everything else to where I can contribute to this space very well. Last thing I'll say before we move on as we go into company structure. If you're ever starting a business or partnering, find somebody that complements yourself, that does not match yourself. Me and Nekia, we are opposites. We are not as many ways as we are the same, right? We are opposites, like we were talking about before, branding and stuff. I could work hours on a slide and never get it to the point where she is. So know what you're good at, know what your superpower is, and lean in and find those people that complement you in other areas. Because a rising tide does lift all boats. Everybody does work together, and everything is team. As much as we love individuals, everything comes to a team, and you have to have those compliments on your team, which that's what we're doing in Just in Life, in the in brand, as we build and everything, really trying to find those people that excel in those spots.
Yep. So this gives a full look of what companies that are under the Nekia Nichelle LLC umbrella, Just in Life, the In Brand Agency, and we just opened the In Media Institute, which is a training hub for our internal teams, as well as for people that want to continue their education, that are not interns with us, but they're external students, and they're looking to get more real world education in media marketing, business, and any practical skills like personal development, things of that nature. All right. The publication is where it serves as our media partner for our agency, providing clients just a holistic approach to brand visibility.
So then I'll kind of take the agency here. One thing to highlight to you guys, right? As we introduce the agency, we say PR marketing agency. Then later on, we say creative and marketing agency. One great question that we can follow up for a discussion, right? How marketing agencies and PR is changing. PR is in a world where it's kind of changing some to where it is leaning more towards creative services versus PR. That's why us on the business side, do we want to market ourselves as PR, or do we want to market ourselves as creative services? One of the main services we offer too is media placement. So are we a media placement company? Are we a PR company? So as you guys are going into PR, these are things to consider, like what do you want to where do you want to specialize, and does that agency align with you? We do operate differently as an agency. We aren't retainer based. We are campaign based. So every month, every couple months, we're launching new campaigns. Our clients choose to participate or don't choose to participate, right? We offer two services here. You can boil down all our offerings. We have a full offer stack, but all of them boil down to pretty much two things: visibility and credibility. Do our clients want visibility, or are they trying to get credibility? As we move further away from SEO and kind of go into GEO, which is generative, it's AI's SEO, right? So as we move into there, right, the industry's shifting again. Right now, you guys are going to be graduating where you're going to join an agency where there's a lot of people that are operating under the historical structure. I very much don't think that's going to be the structure moving forward as we move through the era of AI, right? And then to touch on that note too, right? What AI can't do for you is replace the relationship. Relationships will become more important. Go back to what Nekia said. Your network is your net worth. AI can't take away your network. AI won't get on a screen and talk to you the way we're talking to each other. They won't establish that relationship. So at our agency, we very much try to focus on relationship based and more client base, right? Trying to garner those relationships.
And if you're scared to talk to people,
Yeah,
PR might not
yeah.
PR might not be the place for you. You do have to talk and build those relationships and,
Hmm.
be friendly. So in Media Institute, that's what we talked about. It's our, learning hub that serves as a training hub, not only for Nikia Nichelle and all of the interns, but it also helps external creators and entrepreneurs looking to, learn more skills in certain areas.
The one thing I'd like to touch on with the institute, right? As you guys are in college right now, college does a great job of teaching you fundamentals, teaching you the groundwork, kind of the why, the history of everything. What they don't do a good job in is teaching you the actual applications of the softwares used in the industry. Reason why industry moves so quickly, they can't update their courses every year and change all of that all the time, right? So as you get your fundamentals from college, you will have to do some additional education, assuming that's why you guys are interested in internships. Internships is one way to get more of that industry experience of the softwares that are actually being used now, right? Courses are another way, right? Taking courses, pay 25, $50, take a course, you learn new software, then you can put that on your resume as well. So as you guys approach, entering industry, consider how am I going to get that experience for actual softwares that are used? One of the issues as you graduate, you're going to apply for jobs and then they're going to ask, what experience do you have? Well, I just spent the past 4 years in college. What do you mean experience? I have this degree, right? So they do want to see both. So you're working now to get your degree, which gets you in the door, those softwares and that language that you can use in that interview, that language that you're going to get from those softwares, right? That will then solidify you as the top candidate.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So that was kind of an overview of our company and everything.
Yes.
Basante, do we want to just open the floor for questions now, or do we want to
Yes.
breakout rooms? Okay.
We're going to open up to general Q&A. The participants who are here today actually had questions in advance that they populated. So I am going to use some of those questions as we dig in here. So let me just take a moment to pull those questions up. I also want to encourage students to start populating the chat with your own questions, because once we do a few of these questions that are pre-populated, I am going to open things up to everybody so that you can just ask questions live. I think that's a really important part of this. So just give me 1 minute to pull this up, and please start populating the chat and we will get to your questions in just a moment.
Perfect.
I have a question. I'm going to kick it off.
Go ahead.
Clint, specifically about your career journey, you have a lot of touch points in different areas. How did you figure out, like, this is what I'm really good at? Because I think people have a lot of great, like,
Hmm.
experiences in different things that they want to do, but they just don't know how to hone in. So can you tell us a little bit about how you made that transition to saying, oh, I'm really good at this. Let me go in this direction?
Yeah, so for me, I guess the starting point, if we frame it in heavy and light, as you approach a task, does that feel heavy for you or does that feel light? If it feels light, that's probably something that comes easily to you. That's something that you have knowledge of. If it's heavy, then that's probably not your space or your superpower. Also, kind of learning through mentors and stuff, being told, oh, you're good at this. Oh, okay. And we kind of experience that as we go through school, right? And we try different areas, and you're like, oh, this isn't it, this is it. But kind of through your journey, if you look back on it and see where you excelled and kind of where you failed, that will probably help. And then keeping in the mindset of heavy and light. For me, I it is very heavy for me to sit on the phone with customer service. I know that's not my role. It agitates me. It doesn't feel good, right? So kind of how things feel, knowing yourself and knowing your body, right? kind of, and then that'll kind of guide you. And then listen to what other people say. Obviously, people that you respect, or that you would listen to, right? Because don't want to listen to everybody. But that's kind of how I would navigate it. And then just being open to letting the universe take you where it's going to take you. Because the skill set I have today is not the same skill set I had 5 years ago. Even with some of the problems that we face, I talk to Nekia sometimes about it, and I remember what 5, 6 years ago when we were looking to hire, I'm like, oh, I don't even know, when do we hire? How do we know we're good to hire? That's not even an issue anymore. So that was heavy then, but it's light now. So that heavy light doesn't necessarily reflect in that space because that was a knowledge gap. That wasn't necessarily a skill gap. But in facing that problem, I was excited to face that problem. I was looking on YouTube. I was talking to my network. I was asking, the teachers and the educators I knew, and I was educating myself to solve that problem, and it was exciting for me. So I felt good in it. Even though it was heavy, I felt good, and it stirred something up in me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. Thank you so much.
Very good.
A question for anyone who wants to answer is, how do you keep up with the fast pace of social media content, but also making sure that it feels intentional or community driven or representative?
I can let Gabby answer that, honestly.
Mm, Actually, that's such a great question because there are so many things going on in the world at once. So, something that we really focus on is filtering the conversations that one resonate with our audience, that we know that is something that people are interested in, and that with our values as a company as well, that's really, really important. So, once we filter those in and then we give it our brand voice, it's much easier than looking at a pool of ideas and being like, okay, I'm gonna get all of this done. It's better to be like, okay, let's assess, let's get together what is worth communicating that is gonna uplift our audience, because we're all about uplifting our audience too. So yeah, we really have nailed down the type of content that we focus on, so it makes things so much easier for us.
To add something to that, Gabby, would you also say, right? Like I feel, and then in industry night, Basante, I heard them kind of touch on this too. I feel social media is normalizing in our as far as our consumption goes, where some years ago like everybody was chasing trends, and now I think we're moving into a spot where people are more so kind of, Gabby, like you were saying, you find your lane and you stay in that lane. So historically they say, what, you got posts on TikTok 11 times a day, on Instagram 5 times a day, and all of these things, but just finding your pace that works well for you and not listening to kind of all of that noise, because we are getting to a point with social media where it is normalizing and it is just becoming accepted. So then those behaviors and those trends aren't being chased as quickly. And then the softwares on the back end, they're always changing it up, making it more difficult, making hashtags the way that hashtags behave change and everything like that. So there are some things you have to pay attention to, but I do feel the industry as a whole is starting to normalize and stabilize to where, like, we're not required to like have 60 million posts go out every day, so I do think we're starting to see kind of a normalization there.
True, actually. I feel like we heard, maybe even now, I'm not sure because I try to stay away from that content, a lot of
Mhm.
social media gurus online saying you have to do this and this and this and this to be successful on social media. And that's just not the case for every type of business. So you have to look at your business and be like, okay, what's this strategy that's gonna work best? And then go from there. You may not perform as well if you're posting 60 million posts, right? As if you do really good, let's say, just to say a number, 8 posts, but really well done. And, they were crafted for your audience. So definitely do not listen to everything that's online out there. There's some helpful things, yes, but I would say not most of it, if that makes sense.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Gabby, you're so right. And to kind of piggyback off of that too, for a while I was, driving content and being the content strategist, and I'm now letting go of those reins and letting, Gabby lead the helm on content. We do know overall we need more lifestyle content and not drowning with entertainment. But like she said, it's definitely what the company needs. We also have to kind of keep it very advertiser friendly, our publication too. So making sure that we're, having a good balance of entertainment, lifestyle, and I'm about not gossipy stuff. We want facts. We're just regurgitating the story that's already out there, right?
Mhm.
That's all we're doing when it comes to that entertainment news. But we want to make sure that we're factual. We're not tearing anybody down. That's not the vibes. We're not about that. And if anything, we want to promote like what you're doing versus the salaciousness of your personal business. But I mean, some people put it out there on social media. So what do? You got to report on it. So yeah, so we do a really good fine balance, and having Gabby as the team lead and at the helm of it. I love Gabby. I felt like that was the best decision that I made hiring her. She does a really great job with the team. She keeps the team energized. She's really great to work with, and she knows her stuff. And so she's my mini me. She's my mini Latina me. So definitely what she said is spot on,
Fantastic. And we've actually got some students questions rolling in, so I want to pass it off. Izzy, you've had your hand up, and then we'll go to some of those questions in the chat. Go ahead.
Perfect. Nice to meet you both. It's a pleasure. So I'm actually an alumni from DePaul. I graduated in 2024. So I've had agency experience, and something I always like to ask, like going into new agency, is what is your philosophy on new business and how is your approach to bringing in new clients? So I've definitely have had like paid media and influencer, but I always like to dive into what is your approach to bringing in new clients?
Oh,
Ooh,
I
I
can take
love it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
ahead.
No, so I can take that. That's perfect. Since we're not retainer based and we're campaign based, we always have to be finding new clients, right? So this is
Mhm.
something that happens all the time. We don't do earned media, we do just paid media.
Okay.
So like, it's a constant search, right? This
Yeah.
comes down to inbound and outbound, right?
Hmm.
What are you doing outbound, meaning more cold outreach, and then what are you
Yeah.
doing inbound to attract people in, right? So
Yeah.
building out a solid system that keeps that lead gen consistent, right? So this is kind of one area we are focusing on right now.
Mhm.
I'm revamping the way we're doing our cold outreach. Um, so now with our cold emailing, how are you doing your sequences, right? What language are you using? Are you using links? Are you doing those on your main domain, or do you have a burner domain that you use for your cold outreach there? But it does come down to it comes down to sales, right? Any
Mhm.
sales funnel. So a sales funnel, it says if I want one client, I have to have 1,000 at the top of my funnel because it's going to come down, right? So
Yeah.
you do want to blast out there. And when I say blast, like we can't just blast anymore. You do have to be very specific. You do have to hit relevancy. You do have to hit all these areas that Gabby shares, right? So now you kind of see how social media strategy can kind of overlay with our marketing strategy, right?
Mhm.
Because getting in front of the right person at the right time matters.
Mhm.
If I have a product launch that I'm launching in 6 months, if I reach out to him in 7 months, it's not as relevant. If I reach out to him in 5 months, I'm very relevant. He's on top. The person's on the top of their mind. How do I get this out there, right? So they will respond. I will get a reply from that. Um, and then kind of like Nakia said, right? Are you willing to get on the phone?
Mhm.
Especially as we move into AI, right? I could
Yeah.
probably build out chatbots that can automate my whole email sequencing, my whole cold outreach, right? So that tool is taken away from me now. That's not my specialty anymore. But
Mhm.
what will remain is that relationship, getting on that phone, making you feel good, making you trust me. And how I make you trust me, I know the language, I know the conversation. I can keep up with you in conversation or even better, educate you on new topics. Did I answer that question?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Definitely the first 20 seconds of that phone call is the hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I know
Mhm.
my fair share of reporters and pitching, so that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you
No,
so much. I really appreciate it.
no, thank you. That was a great question.
Proud of
Yeah.
it.
Definitely, and very relevant for us right now as I'm
Yeah,
building
happy
our
to
book.
help.
Amazing. Thank you, Izzy. So we have a couple of questions populated in the chat. One from Allison. What is your advice for post-grad students to help them stand out in the job search process compared to other applicants?
Hmm. I'll let Charlene answer that.
Hi, everyone. I think, well, I could speak for me specifically just in terms of writing because I didn't have a background in writing when I graduated. So I think a great thing to do is looking into how can you start doing that on your own. So something that I did was I started my own blog where I just talk about my spiritual experiences. I'm really into spirituality and astrology and tarot and stuff like that. So instead of waiting for somebody to give you that opportunity, looking for ways that you can already cultivate those opportunities, whether that's like going to local community organizations or nonprofit-based organizations who need help with if it's like cinematography, marketing, advertising, until you get something, because at least that gives you, I think it was Clint who mentioned that a lot of jobs nowadays, they expect you to already have experience, even though you just came from college. It's like, I don't have any
Right.
background. Like, you don't have anything yet, you know? And I think that was my struggle with like, I want to get into writing, but I didn't have any background. And of course, for the jobs that I was looking to apply to, like a lot of the prerequisite was at least having a background in communication or journalism. So I didn't even have that either. But I think if you do already have that and you're still even struggling to break into the industry, finding ways to be innovative by yourself and creating and cultivating those opportunities. So if you're a writer, you can start a Substack and just write, you know, different things that interest you and just start keeping track of that and archiving those um, different articles that you write. So at least that way, when you do apply to these positions, they see that you were innovative enough to create those opportunities for yourself. And I think that's really helpful. And I think what's interesting is when I applied for Just in Life as an intern, I actually shared my website blogs with Nikia, and she really liked it. And she actually encouraged me to create a whole other category in the culture section called Spirit and Astrology, which didn't exist prior to that. And I was like, oh my goodness, because I never really thought that my background in doing something that I was just passionate about and I just wanted to do for fun would be something that would translate into an act.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
We paused her,
Like
but
my,
oh, go ahead. You kind of froze
I
for a
froze. Sorry.
yeah.
But essentially, I was just saying how I never thought that, you know, just doing something that I enjoyed for fun, which is just blogging about my spiritual knowledge and expertise, would translate into, you know, a digital publication actually giving me the opportunity to write about that. And it's also helped cultivate more of my spiritual knowledge and help me be more confident in that because I was very hesitant. Like, I don't know if I actually know enough to start writing about it. But she was like, no, like you have, you know, the great voice and, you know, like we don't have this niche yet. And that's something that is becoming more popular now, especially in pop culture and mainstream. So I think I would just really advise, like, even if the opportunities are not there, if they're scarce, don't be shy about finding innovative ways to create that. You know, and I think especially right now with technology, like with TikTok videos, if you're into cinematography or even filmmaking, you can start even writing your own scripts and just like creating your own little, you know, mini productions, even if you're playing all the different roles. Maybe it's like three different characters, but the same person is playing them and you just take on, you know, those different roles and record it, like, or YouTube videos, whatever the case may be. I think there's always an opportunity to at least start, even if the opportunity has not been offered. And then when the opportunity comes, you are already prepared. So you're able to just take off with it. So that's something that I would highly, highly encourage is just don't be afraid of your capacity to be innovative, you know, because I think with the current market and that right now the job search market is not the best. I don't say that to discourage, but I just say that to say that it may take longer than you anticipate, especially after you graduate, because post-grad can be a really, really hard experience to go through, especially after you spend 4 years in college. You're like, now what? Like nothing is happening. Like, did I waste my time in school? But I think it can be a great opportunity for you to be like, okay, well, how do I create something for myself? And you will be surprised that could grow into something that you end up maybe even starting your own business. So just don't be afraid to be innovative and don't be afraid of rejection, because every rejection is also a redirection to something that is more aligned with what you deserve. So
Oh, so many incredible pieces of advice there. Yeah, go ahead, Clint.
Yeah. Before we move on, like what Charlene is telling you will make you stand out getting in the door. Then once you're in the door and you have that interview, I would love for Nekia to share some of her experiences with interviews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mainly,
go
yeah.
ahead. You know where I'm going.
So if once you get once you get to the interview process, the really captivating thing when I hired Charlene, there was just something about her spirit that was very calming. I loved her transparency, her honesty. She did her homework. You don't know how many times that interns come to an interview, did not read anything about the job description, did not look into the company at all, and just showing up with vibes like, give me nothing, girl. I'm and so that is the first thing that I ask in an interview is, did you look into the company and who we are and what we do? No, I'm sorry, I had class. And girl, how can we move on from here? Like,
Or that one interview, they told us we were a real estate company.
yes, so I had somebody again and was saying that we were a real estate company. So that is going to take you out of the game faster than anything. You can have a Substack, you can have all of these things, a website, but if you don't come to that interview prepared and showing some type of professionalism, and even though Charlene didn't have it, I still gave her the opportunity to show her skills, because there's been times where I didn't have it either, right? And I needed someone to give me that opportunity, but she assured me, like, I'm not going to disappoint you. I really want, and I could see the passion and I could see the dedication in her eyes. And I said, absolutely. I'm a little on the fence because you have it written in this area, but something about me is saying yes. I'm really good at reading people too. You can't really get through with BS in me too much, because once you get into the door, right, then there's another hurdle that you have to overcome.
Back up your words, right?
Yeah, back up your words. You said you know Canva, but you don't even know how to change the color on a template. So then we have another issue. But so if you say you can do something, I don't recommend lying on your resume or fluffing up your skill set. Be honest about it. Be transparent. I can always clock you when you're not being transparent. But at the same token, you're gonna get called out anyway, because once you get into the door and you can't use Canva, like you said that you could, you said you gave yourself a 5 out of 1 to 5, and you come into the door and you're a 2. It's gonna show. Gabby's gonna know. And as friendly as Gabby is, she's very she yes. And that is the type of team that I have. We're gonna give you grace, we're gonna be kind to you, we're gonna help you, we're gonna make sure you're comfortable and you're settled in, but we're also going to hold you accountable. And, that's one of our core values, accountability. So I'm definitely a type of boss that leans into giving grace, being kind, making sure that we're coming professional and getting the job done. I like to have fun. I like to laugh too. But I like people that are consistent, reliable, dependable. All of those things are really going to make you stand out as a candidate.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add one more thing because I do think this is probably like one of the most important pieces as a student, right? Graduating in, right? As you apply for jobs, business acumen will get you a lot further. I will hire you just if you impress me on business acumen. Right now, we have a freshman in college that's interning for us. We were questioning if we wanted to hire him because he's a freshman and like he's young and all these other things, but his business acumen was so high that we
Solid.
brought him on board anyway. And it's to the point now, like I would even offer him an agency spot as a freshman in college because, and some of the tools and tricks you guys can use that'll impress the employer side, right? After your interview, send an email follow up, right? As you apply for the job, send LinkedIn connections. Take the principles. We're all here for marketing, right? So the principle of 7 touches. I need to touch the client 7 times before they remember me. You are marketing yourself. So how many touches are you making to that employer? If somebody applies for a job, I review their resume, move them along the pipeline, then all of a sudden I see an email from them, then I log into my LinkedIn, I see them over here, you're gonna get an interview, right? And then once you get that interview, go to, like Nekia said, research them. One of my best networking moments I've had, I was trying to get a property management job. I ended up finding one of my mentors this way. But I went to his website, I found his core values, I tied them back to my own core values, and then when I got on the phone with him, I made those connections to show him the alignment and then also show him that I did my research, right? So utilizing those tools in the interview process and as you move along, it will set you apart tremendously. We do notice it on LinkedIn. I might not follow you back or whatever, but I saw it. I saw your face. I saw your name, right?
Yes.
So you had that touch point. That becomes very important. And even that might cover your skill gap and will give you the chance because I can teach skills. I can't teach personality.
Yeah. So true.
Thank you so much. Allison, is there anything else you wanted to follow up on with that question? Feel free to unmute if you have.
I know you mentioned something like just being honest about kind of your skill set and where you are. How do you kind of explain that in a job interview without, because obviously you want to sell yourself, you want to come off as an attractive candidate. How do you be honest while also, you know, I guess bring the best version of yourself to a job interview?
You want to take that? I know you.
Okay, so I like talking. I'm sorry. I'm behind the camera. She gets to do all the talking, so sometimes when I get the chance, I like to spill it.
Yeah, he does. And I let him go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Hold on, my mind went blank. I had something perfect. What was it?
I don't know.
Oh, gap, not gain. All right. How you show your skill set, right? If you don't have that skill set, and just say in Canva, right now we're looking for a 5, you're a 3, right? And then you're like, man, I'm not a 5. Talk about the gain and not the gap, right? So your gap is between 3 to 5, but your gain is 1 to 3. If you show me that gain from 1 to 3, and then like, look, 2 months ago, I knew nothing about Canva, and now I'm a 3. Because of that trajectory, and this is what I've learned, I know with confidence I will be a 5 with no time, and with your guidance, that will happen overnight, right? So just reframe your skill versus acknowledging your gap, right? Highlight your gain and reframe.
That was
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. I know that you already spoke a little bit to some of the qualities that you're looking for having people join your team. Alexa had a question about qualities you look for in bringing someone on your content team. Is there anything else you want to share about that? Or Alexa, is there any other follow-up you have about that?
I guess my question was specifically aimed towards Gabriella because I know she's working with social media and content team. So if there's anything that stands out for her when looking at candidates.
Absolutely. And I really love this question because I do the interviews for our team, and something that really like stands out to me, like not much quality, but this is just your presentation card, and something I wanted to point out is your CV. If you're applying for a creative role and I see a plain CV, for me that's already like a like I want someone that's creative. I want someone that thinks out of the box. I'm not saying bring the rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, but you can add some touch of your personality in it. And I guess that when we are now in the interview, I always look, and I always, with our conversation, like Nikia said, I'm looking for someone that's accountable, that communicates. We have an assessment during the interview. If you don't know how to do something, don't be like 5 minutes in trying to figure it out by yourself. Communicate. So I really love seeing someone that's honest and it's just like, hey, you know what? I'm not sure how to do this, but I know I can learn. Could you give me a tip? Like that's like this sort of personality that I look for, someone that's willing to grow, someone that knows the areas of opportunity, acknowledges them, and wants to do something about improving that skill set, for example. That's more specifically about skills, but communication. We're all about communication, accountability. If you say you're gonna do something, I want to see that you actually do it. And sometimes we see that until the person is actually in the position, but definitely it's all about personality, like your personality. Are you someone that's creative? Like, in your core, are you a creative person? Are you someone that likes to communicate? Because if you're in this field and you're shy, I'm not saying that you're not gonna make it, but you just have to find the way that works for you. We have a lot of like introverts in our team too, and they work perfectly fine because they found a way to make it work with their personality, and they do beautiful, amazing things in our team. So it's just finding those strengths within yourself and what you bring to the table. You have to know your worth. If you don't even know what makes you stand out from the rest, you're not going to be able to, communicate that in your interview. So you really need to know what makes you different from others, right? What's your core strength and exploit that. Yeah. And just make sure it comes across during the interview. Okay. Like, don't be scared at the end. Something that I always like is people who create that conversation at the end, asks questions during the interview, like, yeah, I'm interviewing you, but you also want to know about our company, right? You also want to know about the position. So I love that curiosity, and just like, it's just like a vibe. I don't know how to explain it. It's something that Nikia was talking about. We're really good at just seeing people that are transparent, honest, and hard workers. And that sometimes, and most of the time, will like out perform like the skills that you have. I much rather work with someone with a great attitude than someone that's an expert in this topic but is not a team player and it doesn't communicate well. So I really, really look at how that person, performs, how they talk and all of that, those personality traits. And then I see, okay, I can work with this person. It's teachable, it's open to learn. And yeah, I guess that's in our company specific is something that really will make you stand out from the rest of the candidates. I hope I didn't just talk too much right now.
Oh my gosh, not at all. Dropping gems, truly.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to add, Nikia, Clint, or Charlene?
Yeah, I wanted to add on top of that. I just love Gabby. Just like she is so like she's my voice when I'm not, speaking, and she just yeah, she's exactly right. We definitely love communication, and I forgot to even mention that, but a lot of times we have a hard time with interns being forthright, speaking up, like she said, if you're having an issue, tell us. I mean, you're going to make it harder on yourself if you don't say anything and you're taking 2 hours on a 15-minute project. It's like something's up, something's going on, right? So making sure that you communicate is huge. We're also looking for, as she said, and I'll just piggyback off of that, creative, coming to us with ideas, not afraid to share ideas. We're starting to open up the social media department more and doing more lifestyle content, more video content, where we're allowing interns to get in front of the camera and show their skills, right? And so we're taking more of a different direction with the content, but we also love when people, we have two new interns, Renee and Anna, and they are killing it. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I mean, I'm like, and then everything is over there. I mean, I have nothing to worry about on the social team, and making it to where, you're making our lives easier when you're coming in and you know your stuff, you get the work done, and then we have time to leave early on Friday, or maybe have, some team camaraderie and do little fun games. So yeah, just making sure, like Gabby said, you know your worth, you're coming and backing up what you said your resume you can do. And you're not fluffing your skills. Don't lie, don't fluff. There is a space for you. Don't get down if you hear that one no, like Charlene said, you're going to hear them. I mean, you are. But know that the universe will provide, and there is a space for you somewhere, right? And you will get that opportunity. But these types of forums and these types of environments, I want to give you guys a hand for even showing up, because that's the first start, so think of it like that.
Right. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we are going to split into some breakout rooms so that you can talk to specific staff members. The big question really is, how do you encourage your team to stay creative without burning out? And Nekia, as the founder, managing so many incredible initiatives, how do you personally avoid burnout as a creative?
So, I think I got my burnout wake up call where it was like, girl, you better sit it down, and we're not playing. Was in 2021. I had a pulmonary embolism, which was blood clots in both of my lungs. And I realized at that moment, I mean, people have said it several years and over the years of health is wealth. It really is. And that was my call. So after I got blood clots in my lungs, I went to the hospital. I had blood clots in both of them. And the realization that, oh my God, I could have died. Like, seriously, could have died that night had I not looked. Oh, well, full disclosure, Clint and I are engaged, so we're a husband and wife team. But
You're like, I'm about to give it up. Oh,
I'm
no.
about to give it up. Right? But it was late at night, and I looked over to Clint and I said, I think I may not wake up from going to sleep. And so that was my wake up call. Clint was like, and you expect me to go to sleep after telling me this? Like, so that was my wake up call that, okay.
Go to the hospital first.
Go to the hospital first. But then after that, I got a chronic illness. So in 2024, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. So then after that, I'm like, okay. I knew in 2021 that I needed to start restructuring my schedule. I was doing way too much. And so I started to pull back. Even Charlene might tell you, because Charlene has been around during my health journey as well. But I started taking more time for myself, started to pull, back on meetings, and just really lean into self-care. I know it's very cliche, but it is definitely needed, self-care. And then I started pivoting my team's mindset as well. And Charlene could back me up on this. If y'all are sick, stay home. Please leave me alone on a Zoom call looking like death become her. No, sir, no, ma'am. I'm very serious about my team taking care of their health. I am, there's times where, like, just recently, we migrated from one software to another. And I was like, writers, take a week off. Let's all relax, relate, release, and come back refreshed and clear-headed. I'm known to give writers 2 weeks off. I know how it is. You could get writer's block. Sometimes I'll have an executive moment, and I'm like, we all need to chill. We all need a self-care day. So I'm really big on that. I try to hear, I do things to make sure my mental health is good. Making sure I'm taking care of, eating nutritiously. And I know it sounds so like cliche. It's like everybody says this, but it's really true, guys. And if and I try to make sure that we're all aligned. And what I mean by that, and Gabby could attest to this, and Charlene could attest to this. Sometimes, depending on where you're at in life, just that relationship, it's not aligned. That is not your space. That is not, where you need to be at the moment. And I don't keep interns around that. If you feel like this space is not aligned with you, please go forth and find your space. I do not want to keep anyone miserable. So that's one of our core values too, is positivity. And so I let our team know, when you come through that digital door, come as your best self. If you need to go see a therapist and work on your mental health, work on that before you come into our space, because our space is a space where we're kind of one another, we're respectful of one another, we're not taking out our personal issues because your boyfriend dumped you, or you found out he slept with someone else. That is not like, we can help you emotionally come to terms with that, but this is a place of business as well, right? And so, making sure you show up as your best self and not taking it out on your supervisor, not taking it out on me, not taking it out on anyone else, and being communicative and saying, hey, Gabby, I'm having a rough day. This and this happened. Gabby is such a supportive person. She said, but I understand, let me know what capacity you could do today. But that can't be an everyday occurrence, right? But just making sure we're taking care of you and making sure that we're good, or you're good, is something that we definitely try to do. We know burnout is real. We're very aware of it. We get burnout ourselves, so it's very a realistic thing. And I try to do a good job of just checking the pulse of everybody on our team. Everybody goes through things. You lost your pet, you lost your love, you lost the this, and so I think I have done a really good balance of making sure that, I'm being mindful of wellness within our company and our culture.
Sure.
I just want to say real quick that that's one of the things that I've loved the most about working here and working with Nekia and all, is that in my previous work experience, I didn't get that life work balance that I do now. Like, it's such a difference having someone actually caring about where you're at in life, how you're feeling here. So it's been so different. And I just want everyone, if you're considering us, of course, I hope you are, that you're gonna be good with us. Like, you're in good hands. Your well-being comes first. So we're always open to being like, if you need time for yourself, that's fine. Just communicate it. I mean, we're not gonna fire you for that, okay? You're allowed to have a bad day, and having time for yourself, we understand that we're humans, okay? We've been there too. So yeah, we're not about, just whipping you out and be like, go to work. No, we're not like that at all. We're really like, if you need help, I'm here to help you. We're a team and we're here to support each other.
Yes, I just want to echo what Nikia and Gabby said. I think Nikia is very good at reading energy and really getting the pulse of how the team is doing, and she's able to pivot as needed. And I think when it comes to the writing side of things, even with content, like, we usually do 2 articles per week for interns, but I think what I really appreciate is there's also a lot of creative freedom. So usually we have a list of article pitches that interns can choose at least one from, and then they can also pitch their own. So I think that does create the creative energy going, because it's not like you're just having to write things that you don't necessarily align with or care about. You also do have the chance to share your opinions and thoughts. And I really appreciate the culture of allowing space to cultivate other opinions, other thoughts, other ideas, as opposed to just shoving it down your throat. Like, this is what you have to write about, and that's all that that you have to do. And I think for a lot of writers too, like because the culture is already very intentional about your well-being and holistic wellness, they always check in with me too, like, hey, I can make this pitch meeting on Monday because I'm going through X, Y, and Z. Can I just do that virtually? Is that okay? Or, I have a lot of class load. I don't think I'll be able to do these two pitches this week. Is it okay? Like if I move it to next week? I think we're very comfortable communicating that because we have cultivated culture where we know that if you are unable to, for whatever reason, you're not going to be scolded for it. I think just like Gabby mentioned, communication is key. As long as you communicate in advance, so that way, especially if we have like content that does need to get out sooner because it's more trending and like timely, then maybe we can reassign that to somebody else. But I think just in the sense of even during holiday season, and the kids like, oh, this time maybe you just do one article this week instead of two articles. Like, and I'm like, I know because I'm not working on the digital publications, but I understand that the culture is more rigid and strict. And so that's something that I'm very, very grateful for it because I'm pretty sure if I was in those spaces, like I would have burnt out from just creative exhaustion. And especially when you're doing creative work, you don't want to lose your passion for it just because you feel like you're just pumping out for the sake of pumping out and content. So I really appreciate that about Just in Life.
Oh, thank you all so much. You have painted such an incredible image of what it's like to work in your company, what it's like to work with each of you, what leadership is promoting and your values. So now we are going to move into a different space. We have stopped recording at this point because Nekia Nichelle